And thanks for coming back. Hope you're all managed to get a comfort break and something to drink or eat, some snacks. I know we have. So let's go back. One thing I forgot before the break is that you all completed a long rest, and I didn't give you out your XP for the hags. So,
please.
It's okay. It's not 10,000 XP.
Nah.
You're not going to level. You're a long way from leveling up XP wise.
I think so.
In my mind, I'm already there.
We're not that far, are we?
10,000.
Oh,
I mean,
Wait.
we're doing a lot of good work for the community, so
Yeah.
we just gotta keep...
Yeah.
question. How just between players, how much
Just
experience
between
do
us players.
Chat, don't listen. If you look at the Roll20, I posted what my current EXP is at. So
Mine
wait.
is 37,687, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I have
Wait, what?
forgotten to fill in how
That's all
much I
Well,
gained
that's
once I-
okay. Just take that figure that Jabber's posted in Roll20, so that's not a problem. And add 1,250 everybody to that as well.
Oh, don't make me math.
Yeah, wow.
Hold on. I found out something in Roll20 where I think you can do the math. It does the math for you. 7, 6.
I mean, a
8,
calculator will do it too.
7.
Well,
Nope.
I was about to say that a calculator does that.
1,200. What'd you say? 1,240?
50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Math.
Alrighty, right?
Sorry for that wee bit of boring mechanics, but
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, we inch towards the next level.
It would be worse if we leveled, because then we'd be here for a half hour picking our spells and stuff, so...
At least it's not
I
a
think
feat level.
we definitely have to do that sort of stuff off stream, because that would be painful.
I think if just while we are talking about mechanics, I think in the future if we do level like mid-episode,
We'll just wait.
I'll maybe get y'all to do. I'll maybe give you. You can roll the hit points, and you get that straight away. And
Yeah, and like class
we'll-
features, but
we'll
not like
wait.
spells.
Yeah,
That makes
basic
sense.
class features and things like that as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
sounds
Sure.
good.
just 'cause,
Yeah.
Or,
or maybe
Again-
we can. Sorry. Maybe if we can sort of, if we
Just
start to get
amongst
really
players,
close.
right?
Yeah,
So I just love
yes.
just amongst us
No,
players.
If we notice that we're like 1,000 away, maybe we can prepare it beforehand.
Ah, yeah.
well, that's a very good idea as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Yeah. Sorry.
A little bit of
Sorry,
housekeeping.
No, you. Me, I forgot to do that. I should have done that before the break. So,
Sorry. Right.
Squid. And we continue our story. Turn tape
I
over.
swear yeah, exactly. So, you've all had your long rest, and the night went very calmly. Breakfast has happened, and you're starting to move on down the road towards Neverwinter. Does anyone any opportunity to do any RP or do or say anything in this time?
I think as we get closer to Neverwinter and it becomes, I'm sure you will paint the picture in a moment, but as it becomes more and more apparent, coming closer to it, Alton has never seen architecture of this scale, not even close. So he's definitely sort of mouth agape, looking upwards, I imagine. Just even if it's on the far horizon, he'll just be eyes pretty much locked on it.
Yeah. And I think at this moment in time, it isn't sort of immediately apparent, but as you sort of come on, you maybe stop for lunch and you go up a rise, and the rain got quite intense overnight. The grass and the shrubberies very lush, sort of still glistening. There's a little bit of warmth in the sun that's come out from behind the clouds, a little bit of that sort of low, not mist like coming up, but just that tiny wee hint of it at low level. the skies are starting to clear, but the one thing you do see is there seems to be a slight pall in the air. Like sort of smoke, or there's ever so slightly strange smell. And as you come up over the rise, Alton for the first time, Cyric for the first time, you see the city still several miles distant, but it unfold in front of you. It is roughly the same sort of makeup as Derg Balakan, with a large palisade wall, a river running through it but the scale of this is several times the size of Derg Balakan. There are many different levels. It's quite often where Derg Balakan was pretty much on the flat, and there were buildings that were higher than others. Nothing went more than about 3 or 4 stories high. There are some huge, vast churches that look like. There's over the harbour, there is a very large castle that dominates, sort of circular. It's on like a mound, and it's sort of got commanding views in 360 degrees from the top of it. Even at this distance, you can see the harbour is very busy. Lots of small boats and larger boats sitting out in the bay beyond. Colourful sails, too distant to get any details at the moment. But yeah, this is vast, and the slightly strange smell in the Grey Pall is just smoke rising out of various chimneys and things like that. Let me see what else you would actually see from this distance. The town is a rough oval. Not exactly, but it's a rough oval, and that large curtain wall goes round all of it, apart from the entrance where the river and the port is. And there are defensive towers roughly equally spaced along the wall. At some point, and Mara may know the history of this, is obviously suffered greatly some sort of natural disaster that it is recovering from, as there's a huge rent in one of the quadrants that has been sort of sealed up, but there's still a sort of the remains of a large chasm that's probably wider than the whole of Derg Balakan put together. A large rent in it. And yeah, and I'll bring you over to you can't see it in quite this detail, but just so you can sort of see what you're looking at, I'll bring you over to the city map. Mara will probably know the city because you've spent a few days there, but
That's a detailed city map. It's got roads.
It's a beautiful.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, that's
To what
awesome.
extent would Mara know the chasm, so to say? What happened there?
Well, you answer this. How inquisitive would Mara be when she visited? Because I think if you say that Mara's naturally inquisitive, you can have asked people who would have told you anything about the sort of general history of it.
No, yeah. If that large part of a city is gone, then she would have asked.
Well, and if you want to slightly backstep, you can say that you shared this with the party last night when the conversation happened about Neverwinter. About 50 or 60 years ago, there was a volcanic explosion in the crags, not too near Derg Balakan, but thankfully for Derg Balakan, the lava flows flowed west rather than southeast. Unfortunately for Neverwinter, it was badly affected by the lava flows. And this rent in the ground was also part of the eruption and associated earthquakes.
Okay.
It used to be hundreds, if not thousands, of feet deep, but it has mostly been magically sealed now and is just a sort of divot. There is no construction there. There are no buildings there anymore, but it's not the desperate death trap that it was when it first happened, because there was like basically fire coming out of it.
I think that when we finally see the city, Mara will gesture to Neverwinter. Welcome to the Jewel of the North. See what we'll find in the city. I guess that the chasm would really kind of feel, because there will be lights on the one side of the wall and nothing on the other, right? So we could feel the emptiness in that area. Right?
Well, I mean, it's daylight, so there's no lights anywhere at this moment in time. But you can definitely see that the two districts to the north of the river are, there's a lot of smoke, of chimney smoke and things like that. They are obviously quite well populated, and the southwestern quadrant is particularly, even at this distance, you can see that the buildings there are maybe slightly better quality, bigger buildings. So naturally, again, and Mara will just know this, that's Protector's Enclave, and it's where the sort of nobility and the wealthier people live. And people do live in the quadrant around the chasm, but that's the poorest of the poor. It's not uninhabited, but it's the desperate and the exempt from society that end up there.
Yeah.
What can I ask? What way we're coming in?
From the north.
Okay, so we're coming from top down.
Yeah, so if when you're coming down, you can see that the road splits just before, so you can either go into this gate here,
yeah,
or you can go into that gate there, and you absolutely have the choice as to which one that you wish to go to.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if there's any. Which one did you leave? Probably. I don't know which one that would be.
I think naturally it would have been that one that's closest to the sea, because it's slightly closer to Protector's Enclave.
Yeah. So I think Bar is more inclined to take that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm following the caravan.
Yeah, to the other characters, it doesn't really make any difference, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess Mara will also try to give them some more details, like what is the emblem of Neverwinter, and like what does a city guard look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think things like Neverwinter has a king, I presume.
You know
Protector.
that it's a Lord Protector that it has. Yes.
Okay.
The history that you know of when you asked about it is that when the volcanic eruption happened, the city was almost destroyed. It was mostly evacuated for those that did survive, and it was slowly being rebuilt and was then attacked by a massive faction of orcs as well. And the current Lord Protector, Lord Neverember, brought a lot of troops from Waterdeep to help defeat those orcs. He is not without his own detractors, but a lot of the citizens are very trustful in him because of what he has done, and he's brought a lot more stability. And this is now 50 or 60 years after sort of a lot of those events, that whilst not back to the complete splendor it was once in, it is getting there. It's quite good that way.
Because we were resting before we go into the city. It's unlikely. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we did.
Sorry, so you've rested. This is the next morning now, and you know
okay,
that you're
okay.
going to get to the city today, unless
Yeah.
you do something or something happen like yeah. You would expect to get there. It's about lunchtime now. We've had a bit of travel before you could see the city properly, more due to the terrain. But you would expect to get there sort of late afternoon. So still daylight for an hour or two by the time you get into the town.
Mara will change from her travel clothes to her more finer clothes. But she tried to wash out all the mud that Rogala gave her
Mhm.
from that first episode.
Mhm.
So she would change into that as they
That's
approach.
fine. And you do your best. You know it's not. It needs a proper sort of cleaning, but
Yeah.
it's all dried off the mud, so it's easier to flake and sort of brush down with a stiff brush and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's fine. And caravan continues until you get to the gate again, unless anyone wants to have an opportunity to speak or ask any questions. But from Alton and the others' point of view, I've been here. You think, oh, this is a huge city, but as you get closer, it just seems to grow and grow and grow until when you're maybe half a mile, quarter of a mile away, all you can see is the city walls. There's nothing else in your vision. It's just a big grey wall that's maybe 80 feet tall. You can see several soldiers patrolling along the top of it. There's a small queue at the gate to get in, but only 2 or 3 caravans. It's more traffic control rather than so people get let out and then people get let in, sort of thing. But you don't know where, but there is other caravans on the road in front of you that have appeared from somewhere as well, that might have been there for a while. Anyone want to ask Mara any other questions or anything?
I don't have anything for her.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
talking over you all. That's all.
I think Mara will basically sit in the caravan, look towards the coast, and sort of reflect her holy symbol in the sunlight.
This is Mara's story arc.
Yeah, she's gonna die like in 5 minutes. Lightning will strike.
I mean, I don't know if we'd say it's Mara's story.
Oh,
actually.
no.
It's
This
just
is
that
my story.
Mara has
This is
been
my
here
story.
before, so
Yeah, no, I was just, I was kidding.
yeah, I know. So you get to the gate in good order, and there are guards there that sort of give you a rough look over, but there's no inspections or anything. It's just a case of they make sure you're not obviously hostile or of a type. I think Salir and Cyric especially, you feel the guards' scrutiny over you both. This is a big city. They are used to people out of the norm, but you both get the feeling that your presence has both been noted. And one sergeant in particular has very clearly noted you, and what you look like. Nothing is said to you. You're not stopped from entering, but you do get a sort of 30 seconds of slight discomfort as you're under quite a intense scrutiny. Very. Well, let me actually roll first before I say that.
They shiv you.
Yeah, no, he manages to keep his face very even. His emotions do not betray. It may just comes off as professional, but that you are different visitors than they would normally deal with.
Yeah.
Unless neither of you want
Right.
to do or say anything whilst that scrutiny is happening. I should say.
I think Salir would actually stand there like as he's being scrutinized, he'd try to like just stand there with his eyes closed. Just like start and like kind of like just like half lids so like you can't actually see his eyes and just like
Yeah,
I'm not here.
like, please don't look at me.
Yeah, it's like the kid playing peekaboo.
Yeah, it's like my eyes are closed. You don't see me.
Cyric's used to it by now, so he doesn't really mind.
Yeah,
It's-
I kind of thought as much. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you're used to being stared at a bit. But as I say, a large city on not the fringes of civilization, but it's closer to the ragged edge than some of the other cities that they are used to people with slightly different backgrounds, shall we say, coming in.
Weirdos.
Yeah. Mara, you'll know that the city is broadly human, but there are visitors.
Ooh.
Any known race in So would you be taking
Okay, hold on. There is a massive glitch in the matrix there. For me,
is there?
anyway, it is a yeah. So I think we might have.
Oh, your audio's lagging way behind your camera at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Bear with me.
Oh,
Oh, Emeros is frozen completely.
Yeah.
Oh no,
No,
you're
I
not.
see him
No,
moving.
no, he's just really still. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So
Is everything? Do you want me
every-
to pause for a second, or
No. Well, everything. The stream went. They probably got about 3 frames in the last, like, say, 20 seconds, and now everything's fine again. So you might just need to repeat.
Okay.
Alright.
So did we hear the bit about
It's whatever you were talking about last. I'd say was probably.
I've completely forgotten how far along it was. What I was saying was that Salir and Cyric were both getting extra scrutiny, and what I was saying to Mara that she would know that the town or the city is mostly human.
Yes.
They do have visitors from any sort of civilized or not so civilized race that is known in the realms, but there are no large congregations of any other race other than humans, unless they come in on a particular caravan or something where there's loads. That's what I was saying. And I was just about to ask Mara, do you direct Louisa to go to any particular age? Because usually what you know is that this gate comes into an area of the town called the Blue Lake District. And this is where a lot of the caravans and things like that are marshaled. It's where there are warehouses and things like that. Whereas a lot of the merchants and things like the Temple of Joaquin and other temples are within Protector's Enclave, where the nobles and things like that live as well.
Mm.
So naturally, I think you mentioned earlier on, and I didn't want to correct you at the time, but the caravan wouldn't go to where the temple and the thing is. There's a sort of warehouses and things like that here, where the caravans are usually unloaded and then they're taken. And it's because it wants to be quite refined, so it doesn't want huge caravans ploughing through the roads and stuff like that. It wants it sort of broken down into smaller carts to go through the city streets.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do. We'll try and find some place in a storage house to store our stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that Louisa is taking care of. It's, and I think when you would already know this, you'll have discussed, but it's part of what the mayor have did money over. So this first trip, the first trip is completely free, as in he's paying the fees, he's giving you the goods to sell. But that's all part of it, and it is arranged that. as far as inns and things concerned, I take it that's what you want to do next. I take it you're all tired. You do have the muck of the road, even though you've managed to clean. And then tomorrow's another day? Or is there anything that any of you would be desperate to go off and do the minute you enter the city?
I'm going to find the fanciest inn.
The fanciest inn. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I've got a few inns.
Salir needs his city life after Derek Baligan was nice.
Mhm.
It's not a city.
I think to go before I go on too much, I think Alton and Cyric especially, once you enter into the city through the city gates, it's almost overwhelming, both of you, the size of this place. Even the normal buildings are probably about twice the height of anything that you used to see in Derbalakan. These streets are fairly well made. There are Derbalakan were timber built and thatched roofs. These all seem to be made of stone and have slate roofs, wide boulevards, so two carts can quite easily pass each other, even in fairly minor streets, not just the main boulevard. And there are just people everywhere. I'll bring you over onto one of the city streets that's sort of made up.
I'm trying to remember where we decided that Slayer was from.
Russia.
Cool.
What thing?
He was a barbarian of Rashomon. He was born in Rashomon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As we've finally gotten into the city, Mara will take a deep sigh of relief.
And I think Sarek will attempt to grab Alton's hand.
We've seen a little bit of vulnerability from Sarah.
Yeah.
Alton will absolutely take your hand as he's just sort of like...
Yeah, and I think both of us just look up and slowly walk and just try to take in everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And I think as that sort of slightly tender moment happens, like sort of Garvin sort of pops up and he goes, "This place is fucking massive."
So just nods. He doesn't reply. He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Can we smell any food cooking in this area?
Oh yeah, I think it would be quite easy to find. There will, although this isn't the main merchant area, there will be a few stalls selling street food. Like sort of sausages in a bun sort of type thing. But you'll be able to bring people out. Roll me. How many have I got here? Roll me a d20, Mara. And then if you've got a.
Oops, sorry, I hit the microphone. 6.
Oh, don't worry. 6. Right. Well, you know that there's. It's a small tavern, but it's very well furnished. It has about 6 or 7 rooms. Does very nice food that's not far away from here, called the Toll Booth Tavern.
Okay, guys, let's go for some caravan grub over at the Toll Booth Tavern. I'll lead the way. Is Louisa and the people okay? Do they come with us, or do they?
Otherwise, they are just busy starting to unpack the goods. And Louisa asks you before you go if you want her to deal with the negotiations, or suspects that you would want to deal with that yourself when it comes to selling the goods and things like that.
How fancy is this inn?
We're just here to eat. So we'll fix that later.
But you also know it is quite a nice place to stay as well. So I mean, if it is somewhere you want to stay, then that's not a problem.
Okay. Well, we'll see what Salir thinks about the inn when we get to it.
Right.
Maybe his fishing trips have made him more keen to the idea of soft pillow.
I like to have the best of both worlds. I am both a barbarian and I grew up in a fancy house.
Quite quickly, it's only 2 or 3 streets away. Mara brings you to the door of the Tollbooth Tavern, and it's starting to get darker now. It's not quite evening, but the lights are going down, and you can start to see that there are bright lights from in. It's very well lit. It's the sort of thing you didn't see in Dare Balkan. There are flower boxes with a little greenery in it. There are even like menu boards like outside, so people can browse and see what's on offer. And there's some fiddle music coming from within, and the sort of light revelry. It's not rowdy, but you can tell it's relatively busy, which is always a good thing.
No, I just cut you off there. We're losing a ton of frames. I think I might actually have to reset my router.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so that's a bit of an issue.
Should we?
It's a slideshow.
What?
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
So-
Maybe we should do that then before we progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you are hearing me, I have to go and reset my router, and we will be back. We'll just jump straight back to where we are right now.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, this is just probably where my router will spaz out now and go, as the way Sod's Law is. I am not exactly sure where things started to spaz out, so what I will say is we will re-go saying that the party was just in the city, and we were Mara was just taking them to an inn that she had frequented before called the Tollbooth Tavern. And I'd just been describing that as they got there, the day was starting to wane. The sky was darkening. It wasn't nighttime yet, but it was that sort of turning away, and there was a lovely welcoming light coming out of the tavern. The windows were bright inside. The convivial chatter of conversation, not rowdy, and some fiddle music coming from a slightly open and ajar window. So that's what you're presented with.
Everybody, let's find something to drink, something to eat. Ooh, it's gonna be nice to have a full meal again. Mara's probably gonna look very, very happy and comfortable to be back in a big city again. I'll see if they have eyes. I feel like I'm today.
I think Alton's just looking around himself, looking very sort of. He doesn't really know what to do, or he's just sort of following other people. He doesn't really get what's going on.
And when you come into this tavern, you come in the front door there, and there are a series of tables down your left-hand side, obviously for people to sit at and have meals. Against the wall, there's sort of traditional wee alcoves for people to sit at for 4 people at a time. But there are tables that will accompany the 5 of you. Excuse me. There's a few patrons around a bar on the wall on your right-hand side, drinking away. They look to be people similar that have travelled with you, caravan people. They're not extravagantly dressed, but they're not paupers either. They've obviously got some coin to spend. And there's a large red-headed human behind the bar, sort of quite boisterously sort of serving drinks and and stuff. But boisterous, but good natured. It's quite a narrow bar or tap room, but it's actually goes quite deep. So there's more space in here than you thought when from the looking outside, because it's got a narrow frontage, but it's quite deep. So there's actually quite a lot of space, and it's busy. It's as I say, there's quite not a rowdy, but a very convivial, noisy atmosphere, and there is a lady at the back, a solo fiddler, just sort of doing sort of jaunty. They almost sound like sea shanties, if anyone knows those to the ear. That seems to be playing at the back.
Watch Jane as Warbringers. Sorry, that's well. Stop talking about WoW. It's really good though.
The other thing, if I ever see anything that sounds like WoW, it's an absolute accident, because I've never played it.
He genuinely has no idea.
No idea of any of the lore.
It's true.
Other than what you nerds constantly talk
about. Oh yeah, because we're nerds. Have a look around you. Have a look around yourself. Do I need to get you a mirror?
It was deliberate.
Look at the chat. Mara will probably approach some of the people at the bar. No, she will approach the large redhead.
Yeah. And this is the owner, and he is called Herbrith.
Hello, Herbrith. Been a while.
Let's see if he recognizes you.
That one's in Waterdeep. That's not what I want to see.
You've made an impression. The young cleric of Joaquin. I'm sorry, your name's on the tip of my tongue.
Mara.
My apologies. I do remember. I just so many patrons, but the caravan's coming and going. I apologize.
So business is good then?
Well, things are always good. I mean, it's one of the benefits of having a slightly smaller inn, that it's easier to fill it.
Yeah. No, don't worry about remembering my name. I'm just happy the business is going well.
It is. So what can I do for you? And he sort of looks to others, and you're slightly odd companions, but nevertheless welcome.
They are trustworthy and good folk. But we are looking for a meal and drinks.
Hi.
I wonder what you would recommend.
Hi. A nice Chianti and some fava beans. What is drink-wise? Let's deal with that first. It's the easiest thing. Would it be ale, beer, wine, spirits? What do you all like?
One of each.
Oh, one of each, Sirik. Don't get too drunk on the first day in Everwinter. We have a lot to sample.
I'm quite happy for you to sample one of each, but let's stick to one at a time. Whilst I do like to keep my business flowing, I've also got a reputation for running a well-mannered establishment. I don't want people being overtaken with my generosity, shall we say.
Alton will sort of be looking around the tavern here for is there any spider webs or insects or anything?
No, it is a very well. I mean, it's a very well cleaned place. You can see that. Well, actually, give me a perception, seeing as you're looking about.
I believe this is one of the first rolls of the night. So it's my only roll of the night, anyway.
I think
there was
a survival roll. That's about it.
Somebody's sickness.
16.
Do you see the caravan of cockroaches from the kitchen?
16. So I'll sort of saying what I was about to start saying is there's no spiders, there's no flies. It's very well cleaned. You can see that it could probably do with some upgrades. The lacquer on the wood paneling could be stripped back and reapplied and things like that. But everything is actually of a high quality, if slightly on the worn side, but it is immaculately clean.
Okay. I think Alton will reach into his pocket, pull out a few old like mealworms, and just hand them to sort of feed them to Quill on his shoulder.
Yeah, that's fine. And I think Hellbreath sort of says, "Oh, that's a fine bird you've got there. It's quite common for some of the sailors to come in with seagulls and crows and things like that on their shoulders. I think it's the boredom sometimes. It's just they tame them for something to do."
Company.
Yeah.
Well, oh, friend, I'm afraid my friend here will have a sweet tooth. Do you have anything that might accommodate him?
What, on terms of a drink? You're still taking drinks, or?
Oh, that is true. We are taking drinks. I'll take. Oh, I feel like a stout beer today.
A stout beer. Well, that's fine. That's here you go. And he sort of pulls out a dark thing and hands you over and says, "I think you've had this before, Mara. It's one of my finest. It's called the Amazing Tempest."
Oh, right.
Be careful.
Of course,
It's much stronger than it looks.
Well, I've had it before. I think I can handle challenges I've had before. I hope. I'll take one of those. What do the rest of you feel like?
I'll have one of those as well. And some beer. Some wine.
And some wine. Okay, that's fine. Is your preference for white or red wine? And if it's white wine, would you prefer dry or sweet?
Rosé.
Dry.
It's the devil.
It is.
Try.
Okay, there we go. So he gives you an amazing tempest as well, and he goes, "This is called Yellow Blaze. It's from Cormier. It's very, very good wine."
Fancy.
And then he looks to Salir and Alton, and any drinks for either of you?
I don't suppose you have any port.
Yes, port. Yes, indeed. There we go.
I will have it.
Last one, that is called the Brilliant Jam.
I order a second glass
Yeah.
for the small man next to me. Elton,
Yes.
you're disconnected.
Yeah, we're dropping frames again.
Yeah.
Pretty badly.
I mean, if you think it's best, I know it'd be a bit early, but I mean, we could draw the stream to an end if you think that's easier.
My internet's just not
Rather-
cooperating, so it's
But can we still come in like clear with the voices, or
no, because it's the whole thing
The whole
together
stream.
essentially.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's I mean, it's unfortunate.
It happens.
But it does happen. We'll maybe just bring the stream to an
Yeah.
end. I mean, at least it's the one thing is it's happened at a point that it's not
terrible?
there's no exactly. There's no sort of. It's not a crucial death saves happening or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not stuck in a hag hole anymore.
Oh,
No,
God, yeah.
that's true.
All right. Yeah, I guess we'll wrap this up. Sorry,
Sorry,
all
everybody,
of
for
those
the.
of you. If we're not cutting out too much during this,
Yeah.
No, like
Thank
it's
you.
just it goes up and it comes back. So
it's
Should we do the?
yeah, go for
Shoutouts.
it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
we'll sweep through those. We got 3 new follows. We have
Oh,
Crystal's
great.
Crying. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
Pinkosaurus, you also hosted us and followed us. So
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you for
lovely.
that.
Thank you very much.
That's
and then
amazing.
I don't know if it's Raoa channel or RAOA channel. They're all caps, so I think it's an acronym. But we'll go with RAOA channel. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah.
And also thank you everybody for the fantastic chat in our stream chat. It's always fun to interact with you guys as we go.
Yeah,
I am a terrible person.
This frame dropping thing hasn't actually happened yet before, so it shouldn't be a problem in the future.
Yeah, hopefully it's technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I think Squid and Terra are going to be streaming again later this week.
Tuesday, 6 p.m. BST. We are currently still investigating Icewind Dale.
The Valley of Shadow.
In the Valley of Shadows. But yeah, we love it. It's really good.
The music.
Right, he just typed in chat. It's random acts of awesomeness is what
Got
that
it.
stands
Nice.
for.
Listen,
Love
if
it.
you're gonna follow us, I'm gonna butcher your name. So just welcome.
That's standard.
I'm American. I have an excuse.
It's a feature. Don't worry.
Yes,
You pay
that's
extra
right.
for that. Anyone else have anything going on? Coming up?
No, there may be extra random streams sometimes of other games if we ever have the whim. Maybe occasionally,
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep an
dip
eye on
into
the
Neverwinter, but
keep an eye on the Twitter. If there's stuff comes up, it'll all be put there. And as you're there, you might as well give it a follow and
Yeah.
keep up to date with everything that's going on with the Saviors. And and I'll be going up and punching my router in the face.
I really enjoyed today, though. I must admit.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of good RP.
That was good.
So
All the
next
way.
week we'll probably do a lot more RP because we're in a city. And welcome to shopping episode.
Yeah.
It's
You
bound
see-
to happen.
You'll see how uncomfortable I am when I have. Oh, God. You see how
I've already
uncomfortable I am
made a
when I
list.
have hundreds of voices to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I will mix them all up, and they'll all
Yeah.
sound kind of like a
We're gonna have
middle-aged
to-
Scottish
we're
guy.
It's weird that keeps happening. I don't know.
I don't know. You know, it's just one of these accents that I'm just really good at.
All right, guys,
Until next week.
we will leave it there.
Until
Thanks so
next
much
week, and
again
I'll probably
for
pop in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday
Hey, join us.
6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Be
join
here.
us.
6 BST.
If I ever get better internet,
My
I'll-
characters die indefinitely.
Indeed,
as they should.
indeed.
Right.
All right, okay. So that's everything. Bye bye.
We out.
Cheerio.
Bye.